Hello everybody, my name's John, a retired cook from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest video recipe. And in this one I'm doing an updated version of my homemade and home dry cured canned styled corned beef. Now this recipe was inspired by Rick over at Backyard Chef. If you haven't seen Rick's channel, you should really check it out, it's absolutely fantastic. I'll leave a link in the description. So sit back and enjoy this fascinating process of transforming raw beef brisket into a delicious and versatile can-styled corned beef. You can see the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on the channel's website. And the link to that page and lots more is in the description box under the video. Just find and click on the word more. And that'll give you access to all the relative links for this video, including our website store products. Okay, let's get on with today's recipe. For this recipe I'll be using this half brisket, but you can use any cheap cut of beef as long as it has a good portion of fat in it. I actually got this one at half price from my local wholesaler and it only cost me 10 quid, so keep your eyes open for bargains. Using a sharp knife, cut the joint into fairly large chunks as shown. The beauty about this recipe is there's no waste at all. Everything goes in. You actually need a good portion of fat, so don't be tempted to trim any off. Even this thick layer of fat, just get it all in. Right, that's all the meat cut. Time to make up the curing ingredients, and this recipe is known as dry curing. Start by measuring the salt, which is 3% of the meat weight. So you need 60 grams, that's 2.1 ounces, for this amount of beef. And try to use a pure salt, as ordinary table salt contains a lot of additives, including iodine and anti-caking agents. And for the curing salt, I use prog powder number 1, and try to measure this carefully. Percentage wise, it's only 0.25% of the whole meat weight. And that works out to 5.4 grams for the exact weight of the meat that I'm using, or just 1 level teaspoon will do. Now give those a good mix together. Right, sprinkle the curing mixture over the meat. Once it's all in, get your gloves on and spend a couple of minutes giving this a good mix. Make sure each piece has a coating of the salt. I also like to chuck a few bay leaves in too. And I can hear you saying in the comments, why do we cure meat? And it's a good question, so I'll leave a brief explanation in the description box below the video. Once you're happy with the mix, get the meat into a strong freezer bag and securely tie it off. Try to get as much air out of the bag as you can. I like to get it into another bag too, it's just belt and braces in case of any leaks. Once it's all bagged and tagged, get it into the fridge and let it cure for 3 days. All you have to do now is give the bag a quick massage every day, and that's just to make sure everything is coated and curing evenly. Alright, it's been curing now for 3 days and it's time for the next stage. So open the bags and get it into a bowl. What I do now is give the meat a good rinse in cold water. This will get rid of any excess salt and nitrates from the outside of the meat chunks. And that means I can safely use the beef stock that's produced after the meat's cooked for other recipes. And the next step is to cook the beef by slow boiling. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can get it into a large pot on the stove and simmer it for about 2.5 hours. You can do it in a large slow cooker, but that'll take a lot longer. By far the best way to cook it is in a pressure cooker. Not only is this quicker, it locks in all the flavour too. Okay, I'll get the meat into the instant pot. The meat looks a bit dull and drab at the moment, but once it's cooked, it'll become a vibrant, bright, appetising red colour. I'll chuck in the bay leaves that I used in the curing bag. Next I'll fill it up with hot water from the kettle level with the top of the meat. Give it a quick stir. Now I'll get the lid on. And that's the meat ready to cook. So I'll set the timer for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Right, those beeps mean that the element is getting hot and it's up and running. Once it gets up to temperature and the pressure builds up, in a few moments it'll start to count down. And there it goes. Once the time's up, I'll let it self-depressurise for a further 30 minutes, making a total cooking time of 1 hour and 50 minutes. And I'll see you again when the time's up and the meat's cooked. And if you've been enjoying the recipes here on the channel, why not treat yourself to my 5 recipe books. Each one is packed with many of the dishes you've seen on YouTube, and they include helpful tips and handy QR codes that take you straight to the full video. And we have a very special deal on at the moment. Buy our 5-pack of books on our website only, and the bread book 4 is included absolutely free, saving you a massive £11. So get your order in while the deal lasts. Right, that's the 1 hour 20 minutes done, and the heating element in the pressure cooker is now off. And now I'll leave it to slowly self-depressurise over the next 30 minutes. And there you go, it's done, and the total cooking time in the pressure cooker was only 1 hour and 50 minutes. And whatever pressure is left in there I can manually release now. And there you go, it's now safe to release the lid. And all of the flavour has been locked away in this cooker. Even the aroma when it's cooking is barely noticeable. And by the way, I'm not being sponsored by this company, but if they're listening, I am open to offers. Okay, using a slotted spoon, I'll start transferring the meat to a deep baking tray. And it's perfectly fine if a bit of the meat juices comes over with the meat. Remove the bay leaves as you go. And as you can see, the meat is now nice and red. And I can now pass the meat juices through a fine sieve. And you can add the sieved bits to the tray too. Next step, using a couple of forks I can start to pull or shred the meat. And this should be very easy to do as the meat is now incredibly tender. Keep going until the whole lot is pulled apart. And when the meat's at this stage, I like to pinch a little and make myself a hot pulled beef and red onion sandwich in one of my crispy sub baguettes. And I'll leave a link in the description to that sub baguette video. Absolutely irresistible. Now that's what you call a chef's perk. And back to the recipe. Before going any further, you can make up the setting mixture. That's 150 ml of hot water mixed with 150 ml of the hot meat juices. And I'm dissolving 2 gelatin sheets in the hot liquid. You can also use a teaspoon of gelatin granules if you prefer. Give that a good mix to make sure the gelatin has completely dissolved. Right, only one small process left to do, and that is to run all of the pulled meat through a food processor with the metal blades attached. Do this stage in a few batches. I managed to process the whole lot in 4 passes. Don't over-process it, about 10 seconds for each batch. And if you don't have a processor, you can achieve the same result by chopping the meat vigorously with a sharp knife on a chopping board. It'll take a bit longer, but the result will be the same. And that's what it should look like after about 10 seconds of processing. And once you've done each batch, transfer it to a large bowl as shown. Right, I'll just let you watch while I finish this process off. And a very quick mention to the channel's Patreon, PayPal, Super Thanks and YouTube's new membership supporters. I'll do the name splash and shout out a little later in the video. You'll also need a container to put the meat in. I'm giving mine a thin coat of olive oil, and that'll help it release from the container after it's been chilled. Almost done. All I've got to do now is to add the setting stock. But it looks like this bowl is a bit on the small size for mixing it in. So to make it easier to mix with my hands, I'm going to transfer it to a larger bowl. And that's much better to get my hands in. Now pour in the gelatin setting stock and with gloved hands give it a good mix. Just make sure all of the meat is now moist with the stock. It only took about 40 seconds in real time to do this mixing. Right, and that's the process finally finished. And that's quite a bit of the very best quality corned beef that you'll ever taste. I'll give you the exact total weight a little later. Now get it into your prepared container. Gently compact it as you go. And once it's all in, level it off. Now place a small piece of cling film directly onto the meat. Get the lid on and get it into the fridge for at least 12 hours before slicing it. Okay, it's the next day and this one's been chilling now for 24 hours. So, time to see how we did. Remove the cling film, twist the container a little just to loosen it off. Then turn it out onto your bench. And it's looking wonderful. And the first job, I'll get it onto the scales. And it's a staggering 1.424 kilograms. And that's around £3 3 ounces of pure top quality canned style corned beef. Right, I'll cut a couple of slices off. And it's slicing beautifully. It's holding together but slightly crumbly. Absolutely perfect. And while I'm slicing that corned beef, why not get up to date and join in all the fun with everything that's happening on the channel by joining our monthly newsletter. There'll be a link in the description if you want to check it out. Okay, a quick taste. That is absolutely gorgeous. Slightly salty, the texture is spot on and bursting with flavour. Ideal for all sorts of applications. But this corned beef can be used in lots of recipes, like my stunning corned beef and potato pie recipe or my irresistible corned beef hash video recipe, and I'll leave links below for these two videos. And that's it, a fantastic, fascinating process deserving a huge thumbs up, guys. And as promised earlier in the video, here is the latest name splash and shout out list, including YouTube's brand new loyalty membership supporters. And they are Christina Barrett, Jens K3250, Eileen Mary Dulwitz, Justice It Does Matter, Enver Osbey T9X, and Chunk057. Thanks very much, guys. I really do appreciate all that you do in supporting the channel. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.